give you an example on was this traditional way, the Spring MVC XML way of how the things get done. So there are some differences. The project which we have done here, which I've shown here, and the project which I've shown earlier, they both are exactly the same. Not much differences there, but I just wanted to make sure that you guys are aware of it. So that's why I left it here. So let's see. So here we have this customer controller, okay, and here since that request mapping is not there, when we ourselves say that what is the command name, okay, so we basically are setting the form name here, and then the model object's name here, okay. So command class and the name is done. So if this is a form, what is the corresponding class which will deal with it? We have done the configurations here, okay. Now on here the name has to be the one which handles the post method. The name has to be on submit, okay. So that's how the thing is. You have to extend a class here. Screen is shared. Let me unshare it and share it again because it was shared. Can you see my screen now? Okay, I don't know. I mean, it was already shared. Maybe because of some technical problem. Okay, so let's move ahead. So here the name has to be on submit. Okay. Now, I mean, there we had the liberty of choosing whatever method we wanted in the annotations way. This is not the same in the traditional XML way. Here, your controller class has to extend the simple form controller. Okay, and I mean this is just one example so that you have some basic methods which you have to override. Simple form controller is a very basic implementation, and then you have this on submit method which will handle the details when you click on post. Okay, so that's how it works. Then you have this customer object. Now you have this command. So command is basically nothing but the data, the model object, right? And the class you have set here. So here we're just printing it and just returning the model and view object. So model and view object basically means that what all details are there, in the sense that there if you do model.add attribute, that detail is available in the model, that is available for you to be accessed from the JSP, but that is not the case in the case of here. So here if you define model and view, then the first one is the name of the view. So the customer success.jsp, again this depends on the resolver, view resolver. So the view resolver which we have configured in the web.xml was internal view resolver, and there we had added slash webin slash pages in the starting, then we had the actual name and then .jsp. So that's how we had here the model and view. Then we are putting the details here, the customer, I mean the model object, I mean how we can, like what is the name, and then the actual object. Okay, so once you go to customer success.jsp, again we are doing the same file. So by functionality wise there is no difference. I just wanted to show you the difference in the implementation of how it has been done. Now if you want some details to be pre-populated, we directly did it in the object where we had mapped slash request mapping at request mapping for method for get method. Okay, so that was done by default, right? So that was done by default, but that is not required here. I mean here that is not the case. Here you have to have the form backing object as a name, and there you have to define whatever is a detail which you want to define. Okay, then again whatever you want to pre-populate, that has to go into the reference data. So whether it is web framework list, numbered list, country, you can't have different APIs and just add model attribute at the top of it and let the Spring framework take care of it. You have to explicitly state or define all the things, whatever you want to be preloaded in the method with the name reference data. Okay, so this is how the thing is. So it is bit more, it is bit more explicit. You have to write the things explicitly, which was not the case earlier if you were using annotations. Okay, now here if you notice one small thing, that is nowhere we have called the validator class. Nowhere we have not called the validator class anywhere, right? That is because, here if you define the validator in the XML, and we'll see how it has been done, it will automatically get called. There is no need for you to go ahead and do that. Okay. Model object, there is no difference. Let's see the validator. I think validator also has no difference. There is little difference. It's same. There is no difference, right? Because from the validator class, it has not changed, right? This properties file also has not changed because we have the same values. Now, the thing is that if you come here and see, so we have defined the things here, right? So we have defined the controller class, and we have defined the various stuff, that various properties, what is success view, what is form view. These properties would be getting referred from the controller itself. Okay. Now here if you see, we have defined this validator. Now because of the name has to be validated, so because of this particular part, you have to have this thing will get called by default. Okay. Now you have defined this message source, which we had not defined earlier, just to see that those properties which you're using, like username dot required, that value, you have to define it explicitly here. That is not the case in the case of annotation. It will take whatever is there in the class path, but not in case of this XML view. So again, the difference is that here the things are much more explicit. You have to define it explicitly. There it was much more implicit. Okay, so it's much more intuitive. Okay, so once you get hold of writing the annotations way, you start writing in this particular XML view, you'll feel like, oh, what am I doing? Is it right? And you'll start forgetting also a lot of the stuff. So as far as I'm also concerned, like I have to brush up sometimes to see what is written here, because if you use the other way, right, the other way, anything which you're not using, it just fades up from your mind. Okay, it just doesn't mean that you don't know it, because there are so many things which are out there. You just have to brush up. So I'm telling you both the ways so that you understand it. There is no need for you to learn everything up, that you need to know everything. If you're familiar with it, you can go out in the industry and do the work. Familiarity, common sense, analytical skills, they are more important. Okay, so again, this from the view resolver perspective, it has not changed. It defines message source. Now if you hit the same URL, like customer.htm here, because since we have not changed, everything is available. Why everything is available? Because again, if you go to this web.xml, right, and see the pattern, so you have this URL pattern star.htm, and the servlet name is MVC-dispatcher. So we have this dispatcher servlet configured, right? So we have this dispatcher servlet configured for us, and then everything else is configured. So if we have this customer controller, now if you go back here and try to look into it, right? Now you have this JSP defined here, right? You have this form backing object defined here. So the idea is that whenever you execute with get, right, this form view will be used. So that is how by default it is configured. So it means that you have to load this particular page, so it will by default load it. You don't have to define anything explicitly, and to preload some data, whatever you have defined here will be used. Okay. Again, if you submit it, then the all submit method which is here, that will get executed, right? So that is what this XML way is all about. It is a bit more explicit. Apart from functionality perspective, there is no change. If you see here, I had done that earlier. So I've done that earlier. It's not showing here. I mean, I've changed it. So you can have it, I mean, the same thing is here, the same example, there's no difference. Okay. So if you want, let me show you. See, the same stuff. Again, enter some details here. And click on submit. Oh, I had not selected country. See, came up. So it's the same stuff, no difference, and everything else is same. The only way is the way in which you do it in your application. So any questions still here?